Welcome back to another episode of Catching Up with Coach. A lot has gone on since I last did an episode, especially in the Raptor world. For one, they lost a little bit more, but then they ended up winning against Miami. Great. It's a good win. Ingram really came to play that game. Scotty made some big points down the stretch. Good defense. I thought Grady and CMB brought really high energy. Like if you watch that game, Grady was all over the place. Grady was, rotating, moving his feet, getting out in the passing lanes. And Grady needed a game like that because the guy is, quite frankly, I think his confidence is shot right now due to the way that the rotations are set up. They're not even playing Jacoby as much now as well. And I think when RJ comes back, you kind of wonder what's that going to mean for Grady Dick again. So we shall see. But one thing is very clear that this team needs RJ Barrett. You need the rim pressure. You need someone else who could take the scoring load off of Ingram. It's not to say Scotty can't get you 20, but RJ can get you 20 easier than Scotty can. Just the way it is. Scotty's more of the connecting piece of setting guys up, of getting his own baskets, kind of when it works out for him. But he can't create quite the same way that an Ingram or an RJ can. And I think when RJ comes back too, you're going to see Ingram, kind of the load will come off of him, and that will open up his game more. But the biggest thing that's been in the news lately has been Anthony Davis, Domantas Sabonis, Goga Batasi, Daniel Gafford. Raptors are looking at some options. Now, it's almost like Masai was still with the team when I heard about Anthony Davis or Sabonis, especially Anthony Davis. But do the Raptors get involved for Anthony Davis? My short answer to this is no, do not. One, he don't want to be here. Okay. This guy has been playing in Los Angeles. Now he's playing in Dallas. And to go to Toronto from those two places, maybe from a climate standpoint, is like going to the moon for him. So you trade for him, he's just going to be completely unhappy. We heard Fred come out today, or a couple of days ago, Fred on his podcast said how Kawhi, as soon as he arrived here, he said, I'm out. I'm here for a year and I'm out. And I get that feeling from Anthony Davis as well, is that he would not want to stay here long term. Now, he's already locked up for 3 years, so you'd have to hold on to him. But my feeling is that he would just sit out a lot of games, kind of in a bit of a protest. He'd play some games, maybe, but you just can't trust the guy, honestly, on the court. And people who know me know how much I love Anthony Davis. I think he's a top 5 talent in the league when he's healthy. I'm a fan of two-way versatility. I think two-way versatilities win championships. You look at Kawhi Leonard. You look at Giannis. You look at LeBron James. Look at Anthony Davis. You look at Drew Holiday. These are guys that typically win titles for you. And to have a guy like Anthony Davis on your team, you automatically increase your chances of winning a title, but it's always going to be the case is his health. He sits out a lot, misses a lot of games. He's not getting any younger either. So any deal involving Anthony Davis would involve a lot of players because we're not giving up Scotty. If I'm Dallas, I'm asking for Scotty. I think a Cooper Flagg and Scotty Barnes tandem for the next few years in Dallas would be fantastic. I actually think that would work well because, again, two-way players, they win championships. Now you just have to get the right pieces around them. But I don't think that would be wise for the Raptors to do this. If this was Anthony Davis 3 or 4 years ago, I'd be more apt to maybe do a deal like that, but not now. I don't see it. AD is not who he once was. He's still good, don't get me wrong, but I just don't think it's worth the Raptors' time. So any deal involving Anthony Davis, that would require you to get rid of Pirtle because it's all about money. Got to get rid of Pirtle, got to get rid of RJ, got to get rid of probably Abaji. And even then, it still would be hard to take Anthony Davis on because you're still taking on $54 million, and then you'd be sending out $53 million. So the Raptors have a couple $100,000 wiggle room that they have to get under before the end of the year, which a move will be made. But the question is with whom. Now you could do Pirtle and Quickly get you under that. Pirtle, Quickly, and Ochai for Anthony Davis, and maybe like a minimum player would also get you there as well. So it's kind of hard with the money with when you include RJ. So Quickly probably would be the better one for that to get a guy like Anthony Davis. But ultimately, I give this trade a no. I'm not doing it. One thing I do think that Bobby is trying to do is get in on a 3-team deal. So if they're looking to ship AD out somewhere, the Raptors want to be involved in some capacity in the deal to facilitate something, whether that's Ochai and Pirtle, or sorry, RJ and Pirtle, Quickly Pirtle, something like that. It probably would be RJ because I think more teams would rather have RJ versus Quickly right now for financial reasons. And when you look at a guy like Sabonis, now the money is not as bad as Anthony Davis. He makes about $12 million less. It's actually for the same amount of term. Sabonis has 3 years. He's making $42 million a year. Basically, you could do an RJ, and I'm just doing it out here. An RJ and a Pearl get you to $47 million, and then you can do Sabonis to the Raptors, and then you'd have to include someone else. Maybe a Devin Carter might get you there to the money. A Devin Carter, a Keon Ellis, like these are a couple guys that would make that work. And it fails because Pirtle can't be traded until January 7th. But, however, after January 7th, it would work. You could do Domantas Sabonis and Devin Carter for RJ Barrett and Jakob Pirtle. Again, not a fan of doing that. Sabonis is small. He's about 6'9", 6'10 max. We can't get smaller. We have to get bigger. And I don't see Bobby trying to be like Masai in that sense. I don't see him trying to swing for a big fish. I see Bobby more tinkering around the edges more so, and I think that might be a better approach in my opinion. I'm not a big fan of, you don't have to hit a home run move, not with the team the way that it's at right now. I don't see how that would make a ton of sense for the Raptors to do. Now, the other move that has been rumored is looking at Goga Batadze. Now, he makes about $8 million a year. You could unload Ochai Agbaji, but you'd have to give up something else as well to make the money work. Now, that could be Ochai and their bench coach, player bench coach Garrett Temple for Batadze. And the money works perfect. The Raptors also, I believe, get under the cap. So that could be a move. Ochai, Garrett Temple, the Magic would get off both of their money, and that could be a move. It's not my favorite move in the world, but you know what? Let's try to get it big in here in some capacity. That would be something that you legit would have a legit 7-footer backup to Pirtle. And the Magic, they already got Wendell Carter. Just trying to think what else they have here. See what they have for other bigs. They got Jonathan Isaac, Wendell Carter, Mo Wagner. He's supposed to be back maybe at some point. They got Orlando Robinson on a 2-way, so they would have enough size. It's mainly just us. We don't have enough size. So a deal with Goga Batadze would work. And again, it would just take you Ochai and Garrett Temple's contract to get it done because you need a big in here. I know it's something that people speak ad nauseum right now, but the Raptors need a backup big because it's the truth. You do. And you need it even more so with Pirtle's health because that contract right now that Bobby gave him back in the summer, not looking great, period. And if you can somehow even get off that contract moving forward, even it is for Anthony Davis, it's not ideal, but I would do that deal. So Anthony Davis don't want to play center. He's not going to come here, so it's not going to happen anyway. So, hey James, I see you in the chat. I too, Sabonis too slow, too small. Really don't like him. Um, I don't mind Sabonis. I just don't like him for this team. Again, like you kind of said, he's too small. He can score around the basket, decent jump shot, decent passer, great rebounder, but there's no rim protection. So I would love to get an athletic big behind Pirtle. Gafford, maybe Gafford could be um, someone that maybe you could look into. Just anybody that can run and jump. And I like Eves Misi. I think that could be worked into. I think you could get off Ochai for Eves and the Pelicans. The Pelicans stink right now. I would be looking into him. A young big that you can kind of work with and mold into a center that you would want on your team. I would be looking at Eves Misi. You can even have him as third string center behind Mamu for now, if you want it. But that move will definitely be made. That much is clear because they have to get under the cap. The question is how? How do they? Is it going to be a big move that involves RJ or Pirtle? Is it going to be a small move that involves Ochai Abaji? It is kind of strange how they're showcasing Ochai now. They have him in the starting lineup. He would not be starting in any starting lineup in the league right now on any team. Grady Dick should be starting, but RJ out. Even Jacoby over Ochai. Ochai's not even playing that well this year. If this was the Ochai last year that was playing, shooting, I don't know, shooting like 40 to 50% from three in the corners, then yes, I see that. Don't see that with this team. Ochai really should not. Maybe he's coming in off the bench as like a 10th man at best. The guy should not be starting. Not over Grady Dick or Jacoby Walter. I wouldn't have him starting over Jamison Battle because I know Battle can knock down threes. I know Battle can stretch the floor, like legitimately stretch the floor for other people. So we'll see how this goes. My short answers on Anthony Davis and Sabonis. Sabonis is a definite no. I don't like the fit. Anthony Davis, he don't want to play center. If he was cool with playing center next to Scotty, yeah, there could be a lot of things that could work. A front court of Ingram, Scotty, and Anthony Davis, in theory, would work well, but there's also a massive risk to that with all the injury history of all three of them. Mainly two of them with Ingram and Davis, but even Scotty's been hurt a little bit off and on through his career. So, anyways, I'm going to end this stream now. It's just a short stream. Want to just make comments on Anthony Davis, Sabonis, Goga, Batazzi. Probably I see a Batazzi or a Gafford or a Day'Ron Sharp or Eves Misi more so in their future if they're looking for a backup big. And I find my last point. I find it interesting how people like in the analysts will just say, "Well, it's so easy to say they need a backup big." Yeah, that's why we're saying it. Because it is easy and is glaringly obvious when you watch a basketball game, especially when Pirtle doesn't play or if Pirtle is not healthy, that you need a backup big. Mamu is okay, but he's 6'9". 1 7-footer on this team. Last time I checked, basketball is a game that typically is won by bigger players. Look at the history of the game. The only exception, maybe a little bit of that role, is the Golden State Warriors, but you happen to have the best shooter of all time. And when you had the backcourt of him and Clay, it was the best backcourt shooting of all time. That helps. So, Raptors need to get bigger, period. I'll end this stream now. Thank you very much. Thank you, James, for coming on. I'll share this on YouTube. I'll share this on Twitter. Please take care. Peace.